Yes, people, hope we are doing well. Thought I'd quickly just start recording this video because it's been about a week or so since I have actually picked the camera up. So today's episode, I can't get this fucking thing to stay straight. There we are. So today's episode is essentially going to be a lot about kind of me, my personal story and my background. So if you get bored of hearing me talk, which I wouldn't blame you, just turn it off now. So with with it being Men's Mental Health Month, this month there's been a lot of talk on socials in particular around this sort of stuff, and I thought it's probably a good month to kind of share my personal story and my background and a couple of the things that have kind of led me to become a PT and a coach, and the story of kind of how the business started and everything. So what I'll be going through in this video is I'm very open about my SSRI use over the last year and a half, which I'm currently tapering off of, so I'll be going through a bit of that. Again, a lot of the reasons as to why I've actually started the business, a lot of the struggles that I've had, and a lot of the wins as well, as they're also important to kind of go through. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of talk, and there will be some training in here as well. But yeah, we're just going to kind of go through the story, and if you want to hear about it, stick around for the next bit. So just kind of quickly give you a bit of a brief of the start of the business for me. Now, a really big part of my journey coming into this was when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, even only a year and a half, 2 years ago. I had really bad social anxiety as a car salesman. Believe it or not, sounds like the beginning of a shit joke, which, to be fair, I pretty much was as a car salesman. And for me, this went on for about 15 years. Like, I really struggled all the way through school, and I really struggled all the way through my adult life to be able to kind of, have the confidence to put myself out there, even holding conversations with people. Someone was just looking at me record myself there, which again is another big step for me. So yeah, so I really struggled all the way through my teenage and my adult life to be able to have confidence in myself, to hold conversations with people well, to even, like the thought of me being a coach and doing what I'm doing right now, like recording YouTube, like I'm sat doing right now, was literally unthinkable for me 2 years ago. Like, completely unthinkable. I never ever thought that I would have the balls to pick up the camera and just speak my feelings and talk about my story, let alone come out the other side of it and start to thrive socially and business wise, and start to kind of create the dream that I'm in the middle of doing right now. And the beginning story for me was essentially, I'd been into fitness for years because it was my escape, which I'll probably talk about a little bit later on in this video. But the defining moment for me, and the thing that really kind of made me switch on and actually take the step to creating the business, was it had been on the back of my mind for quite a while, but as I said, I had no confidence with it. And when I was working in car sales, I was scrolling on TikTok, not working, shock. It was late at night. I remember looking out onto the pitch, through the big glass doors. There was no customers. I hadn't sold any cars really that month, maybe like 2 or 3. And when I was scrolling through TikTok, I was, this video that came up on the algorithm, and it was Chris Williamson, if anybody knows him, on the Modern Wisdom podcast, talking about something called comfortable complacency, or being comfortably numb. And in the video, he talks about, a lot of people would actually be better off in life if their situation was worse. And what he means by that was, for 95% of the population, like, they're very comfortable, but they're also numb because they work a job that they don't really like, but it's not the worst thing in the world. They've got a boss that they don't really get on with, but he's not a complete dick. They make decent money, but not enough to be able to live a life that they really want to live. The job isn't too far away from work, and they're around people that don't really build them up or help them move forward within their life, but they're also not like terrible people. Like, you still like them. And this is not a reference to my friends, by the way. I love my friends. My friends are amazing, but like, I was surrounded by a lot of people that, like I said, didn't really help me move forward in life. And because of this, because situations aren't terrible, but they're also not good, it's super fucking easy just to stay in that, like, comfortably complacent stage of life where you kind of feel like there's just something missing. And honestly, this brings on, like, quite a lot of depressive symptoms and anxious symptoms for a lot of people, because you feel like there's something more you should be doing with your life. You feel like there's something left. You feel like you've got so much left in you, so much potential, but you just can't seem to break past this, like, this phase of life where you're just so comfortable, but there's nothing going on for you, and you're not living your dream, you're not pushing yourself because you don't have to. And when he was talking about this in a much more simplified way than I've just said it, because it was a 15-second TikTok, I literally went, holy shit, that is me. That is why I feel the way that I do. And literally that day, I made a couple of really big life changes, and I spent all of the money that I had saved up for a house at the time that I didn't really want to buy on a personal training course. I bought the personal training course, and I started that course 3 weeks later. And here I am now. Like, I continued to do that course for 3 months. Again, working as a car salesman, absolutely hating every day. It just kind of got worse and worse. Again, I wasn't really selling any cars. I was probably the world's shittest car salesman by that point. And no surprise, my boss started to get sick of me, obviously. Understandably so. And yeah, I mean, it got to October. The opportunity for Everlast James came around. I went in for an interview. I was offered the job. And literally within 3 days, I just completely left my car sales job and just went headfirst into Everlast James. Like, there was no like gradual like getting clients and stuff in. I had nothing. I had no money whatsoever, but I was so confident in my ability at that point, you know, through going to a psychologist and through going to therapy and working on myself and doing all these things and being completely fucking obsessed with business and the gym and self-improvement. Like, I always knew that I would do well, because at this point my mindset and my mentality was just completely different. And I mean, even then, when I started the business, I was still a shadow of the person that I feel like I am today. And yeah, that was the start of it. Good morning, everyone. Or maybe afternoon by the time that you see this. I'm not 100% sure. So I actually started to record this video a couple of days ago. And I was essentially just going to take you all through like my story and, you know, the last couple of years and all that, and just kind of moan on about myself for like 20 minutes, half an hour or something. But, you know, then over the last few days, I've been thinking, like, that just doesn't seem right to me, because the entire point of the series is to have full transparency with the way things are going in terms of life, business, etc. So, to be fully transparent, like, the last 2, 3, 4 weeks have been a complete fucking whirlwind in terms of personal, in terms of business, in terms of everything else. I've had some pretty big life changes. And I've probably not reacted to these things in the way that I would have hoped, which have all been completely in my control. So I've kind of let my basic habits, and, you know, not all of them, you know, like, I've still been getting my training sessions in, still been looking after my nutrition most of the time, but, you know, like, things like sleep and stress management and nutrition obviously hasn't been perfect. You know, I've not been as efficient with the business side of stuff as I would have liked, and there's literally no fucking excuse for it at all. Like, the goal is still the same regardless of what goes on in my life, so there's no excuse for slowing down. It's completely on me. It's completely on me. So essentially what we're doing is, I'm not going to like sit here and make a series about how I plan to get back to it over the next like 3 or 4 weeks and take it super slow. Like, I've got control over the things that I lost control of, and I'm just going to get fucking straight back to it. Like I said, there's no like slowly introducing this. So, like, I spoke with my coach on a call about a week or so ago, and he said one of the best things ever that I've ever heard him say, and it was that when we start to lose control of the things that we can control, that's when life goes to shit. So, as I said, I'm going to start just implementing those good habits that I've kind of lost over the last few weeks straight away. And I'm going to do it in a bit of a different format to what I originally planned. So essentially, I'm going to take us through all of the habits that I've potentially lost my way on just a little bit over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And then I'm going to explain to you the reason why I know they're so important and my personal sort of experiences with those things. Maybe it's going to come out good, maybe it's going to come out absolutely fucking terrible. I've got no idea. I just had this idea this morning. So, yeah, we've just rolled up to the gym. Had the Ultra Rosa Monster, if that's going to focus there. Got some arms, shoulders and abs today. Right, everybody, good morning. So I'm actually going to put you all up there. So, lesson 1 is going to be nutrition. Now, I'm just going to touch on this one first. Main reason being is, obviously, as I mentioned, my nutrition hasn't been amazing. Like, I've still been sticking to mainly nutritious whole foods. But I've been super transparent with my coach on my check-in, and my nutrition has not been amazing. I've been taking the easier options to get my calories in a little bit too often over the last 2 weeks. It's no excuse, but it's just genuinely been due to convenience and time. However, that could have been solved with me being a lot more prepared than I actually was. So again, it's completely on me. I'm going to take ultimate ownership of that, because like what I could have just done is plan my meals into MyFitnessPal, which is what I've done for this week. That's now been turned on its head a little bit because my coach has loaded my food this morning. So we've loaded my food by 700 calories based off of the trackers and the markers that I gave him. Essentially, my digestion's not been amazing. I've been feeling extremely full, very bloated, all the rest of it. And now when it comes to nutrition, this is one of the most important things that I really want to touch on. If you feel like you have low mood, or you feel like you're constantly stressed, or you're constantly tired, or you see bloating as a completely normal thing in your day-to-day life, so if you just think that it's totally normal that you're not going to the toilet for like 3 or 4 days at a time, or whatever it is, not a lot of people like to talk about that. However, the gut is so important. I literally cannot stress how important your gut health is. You've got your gut-brain axis, which is the connection between your gut and your brain. And not a lot of people know this, but 95% or 90 to 95% of your serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone, which makes you feel happy, which allows you to de-stress and wind down, and also 50% of your dopamine, which is your chemical, your hormone that makes you like get up and go and actually have some drive, want to do things and have energy. 50% of your dopamine and 90 to 95% of your serotonin are made in your gut. They're not made in your brain, okay? So to make sure that we are protecting the gut, and making sure that we're not having too many symptoms that we're just brushing to the side and seeing as normal, it's so important to make sure that we're eating foods that actually digest well for us. And this is the part that I really want to get across to a lot of people: being as prepared as we can with our food, and making sure that we eat good quality, whole, nutritious foods that actually make us feel good is not restrictive at all. Like, I would argue that feeling like shit and feeling down and feeling low energy and low mood and all the rest of it is probably a lot more restrictive than not choosing the Mackies on when you're at work because your mates are getting one. I would much rather feel good for the rest of the day. So I've actually already ate my breakfast. I forgot to pick the microphone up, the camera up, I should say. So we've had 3 eggs this morning. We've had 150 grams of 10% yogurt, 20 grams of protein in that, 20 grams of honey, some peanut butter, some blueberries, and some dark chocolate as well. Just about to take my supplements. I was meant to take these first thing this morning, but I've got some omega-3 fish oils, extremely good for reducing inflammation. Also been shown to have a lot of really important cognitive effects for depression and anxiety as well. Got some vitamin D, because I live in the UK and we'll never get any of that. Zinc L-carnosine to regulate my stomach acid and help repair the gut lining. And then we've also got some magnesium, just for overall general health purposes. Again, a precursor to serotonin. And I do also take one of these before I go to bed at night as well. So I'm going to quickly take these supplements, and then I will talk over the importance of tracking your food a couple of days ahead. So when it comes to tracking food, for a lot of us, or for a lot of people, it can feel like a complete fucking chore. Now, I'm used to it, so it just kind of feels like it's part of my day-to-day life, but especially if you're just starting to get consistent with the tracking, one of the best things that we can do is plan our days of food ahead, so like 2 to 3 days ahead. This, for somebody like myself, is a complete game changer because it just reduces decision fatigue and just means that I actually, like, it's one less thing that I've got to think about. So yeah, it takes a little bit longer on a Sunday, generally. It takes about fucking 5 minutes. It's not something that takes a long time. It's the best thing that I could recommend doing when it comes to, if you use MyFitnessPal, like most of you as well, is save the meals in the actual app. So go on to, I'm just looking at it right now. Go into MyFitnessPal. Go on to the More section on the right hand side. My meals and recipes. Just go into My Meals. Don't really know how well you can see that there. But I've got loads of meals saved in there. So I've got my cream of rice smoothie, I've got my chicken thighs and rice, I have my, beef and rice. I've got the, as I call it, the big brain meal, which is what I had this morning, which is a meal that's really good for brain function. Besides the point, I literally have those meals as staples, and I just go in there. I literally just go, right, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna have the big brain meal, then I'm gonna have my chicken thighs and rice, then I'm gonna have my beef and rice, then I'm gonna have me cream of rice smoothie, and that'll be me done for the day. And that's literally it. That takes about 30 seconds to do because all the meals are already saved in there. Now, all that does is it means that you know that if you just eat those foods that are already planned for you and you've actually done your meal prep, the prep time for those foods the morning after should literally take you about fucking 5 minutes collectively throughout the day, because you should already have the meals prepped, unless of course you like work at home and you've got the opportunity to be able to cook your food as you go. But prepping those meals on a Sunday, like the beef and rice and the chicken thighs and rice, that's literally a case of shoving that food in the air fryer, and putting the beef in the pan for about 10-15 minutes. Excuse me. And then obviously doing some rice with that. It takes me about half an hour to prep 10 meals for the week because it's simple, it tastes good. They're obviously like Nando's chicken thighs. I've got the fajita barbecue beef, plenty of veg, plenty of protein, and it's super, super fucking easy. And that is the biggest challenge for most people. So just getting it ticked off at the beginning of the week is going to save you a lot of stress, and it's going to save you a lot of decision fatigue, and it's really going to save you from a lot of times of going, fuck it, I think I'll just have that off plan today. So yeah, nutrition is so important for a lot more reasons than I even have time to explain in this video, because I don't want to make the whole thing about nutrition. But yeah, number one, get your nutrition right. Right guys, good evening. So, last tip of the day for this part of the video is just get yourself to fucking bed on time. Like, just go to bed. So, I find this with a lot of my clients who are like, oh, my sleep isn't very good, and my, I don't feel very energetic, and I'm struggling with my diet, and I'm always craving foods and all that. I'm like, cool, what time do you go to bed? And they're like, well, I stay and I watch TV until like 11 or 12 o'clock, and then I go to bed, and then I wake up at 7, and I'm like, cool, are you giving yourself a little bit of time in between, the TV and bed or whatever? And the answer is generally no. Most people kind of sit on the phone and scroll and stimulate themselves before they go to bed, which is the exact opposite of what you want to do. So when you sleep properly, everything's going to be better. Your mood's going to be better. Your recovery's going to be better. Your hunger isn't going to be quite as, you won't be as hungry. You won't be craving as high sugar and high fat foods. And again, like, everything in your life gets better when you've slept well. I mean, think back to the days that you've slept well recently. How much fucking better did you feel? Like, how much more motivated were you for the gym? How much better did you eat? So guys, just get to fucking bed on time. Like, seriously, the dopamine rush that you're gonna get on an evening from scrolling on your phone is nowhere near as big as, or nowhere near as good as the feeling that you're gonna get in the long term if you actually just stick to your fucking bedtime and you start accomplishing your goals and you start feeling better on a day to day and you start doing all the stuff that you should be doing. Okay, so get to bed, guys. Right, so I'm pretty sure I talked about this exact thing in my last video, but getting up and winning the day is absolutely huge. Getting up, getting some sunlight in your eyes. Well, we are in the UK, so there's not actually that much sunlight. Getting up, getting some sunlight in your eyes, trying not to be stimulated by anything else. Ironic, I know, because I am currently recording myself. But in my opinion, getting up, getting on a walk, not taking your phone, not scrolling, not using a podcast is the best way to kind of just regulate your nervous system in the morning. Set yourself up for a really good day. Because if you wake up in the morning and you start scrolling on your phone and you start, looking for that like Starbucks straight away, and if you vape, then you start vaping in the morning and you start doing all the rest of it, you're essentially just teaching your brain to look for quick dopamine for the rest of the day. So rather than being able to actually do hard work that takes a little bit longer, your brain is then naturally going to be set to be looking for those quick fixes of hyperpalatable foods. Again, overconsumption of caffeine, like nicotine, scrolling on your phone, all the rest of it. So set yourself up for the day in a positive way, and your day will be 100 times better, I promise you. Right, people, hello. It's actually around 2 weeks after the last clip that you've just seen. mainly because of the fact that, you know, like I've said in the last video, life's been a little bit of a fucking whirlwind. And to be honest with you, I just ended up prioritising other stuff over the YouTube, which I told myself I wouldn't do, but I did. So yeah, I thought the chat that I want to have today, I think it kind of rounds off the video very nicely. There's probably no better time to talk about this, because in the last week, last Monday I forgot to take my SSRIs, and then I just turned around and went, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna come off them completely. I was obviously, you know, like tapering off them slowly, but yeah, I just kind of decided that I was going to come off. So I've been going through all of the withdrawals and everything, which obviously hasn't been the nicest thing in the world. So because of the lack of energy that I had most days, I just ended up kind of delegating my energy to other tasks, and obviously keeping the business running, helping keep my clients happy, all that sort of stuff. So the something I haven't really spoken about much on the you know, on the channel, on my Instagrams, on the socials, and all that, is the reason why I'm actually on the SSRIs. And I'll try not to make this like a 15 or 20 minute clip, because I actually recorded one of these last week and it ended up just fucking moaning on forever. For myself, like obviously I always grew up really struggling, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I think it's been that long since I've recorded it, but I think that's what I talked about at the beginning. And basically last year it was just kind of a combination of everything. You know, like I had some really big life changes in 2023, and I obviously started the business, which was a really big change, and I had some really bad times at my previous job and all the rest of it, and everything kind of like built up and built up and built up. And then when I went to Thailand at the end of 2023, I ended up cutting my heel or my ankle open. They gave me 5 different types of antibiotics to have at once, and because of those issues that I had with the antibiotics, they essentially killed all of my gut microbes, and my body essentially just stopped producing serotonin. I had a really bad reaction to it, and I'll be honest with you, is the 6 to 9 months after that were completely fucking horrible. Like the health issues that I went through, which obviously massively impacted my mental health, massively. And obviously this was me like just starting the business. I had no money, you know, I had no clients really or anything when all this stuff kind of started happening. And when I started the business as well, I was still going through really bad social anxiety. That was obviously part of something I really struggled with, and a reason why I wanted to do the job. And like the job that I do right now is probably the most social job you can do in the world, or one of the most social jobs you can do in the world. And the point that I'm trying to make with this is, if I can, you know, like I was so fatigued for the first few months of running the business. Like I remember once when I fell asleep standing up at work. I'd done the morning shift. I had to get sent home because I literally fell asleep standing at the desk because I was that tired. Like I said, my body wasn't producing serotonin or dopamine. I was so tired all the time. I was sleeping like 10 or 11 hours some nights, and I was waking up still feeling tired. I was having like loads of other health issues in general, which I'll not go too much into, but just because it'll take so long. The point that I'm trying to make, guys, is that like if I can overcome social anxiety, grow a business to where it is today, you know, start to put stuff on social media like I'm doing right now, do the early mornings, do the late nights, and improve my physique and improve my health and all the rest of it, while I was going through all the issues that I was going through. Like I was literally just walking down the street having panic attacks for literally no reason. Nothing was wrong. I wasn't worried about anything. It was literally just the way my body was reacting because of the high adrenaline and the high cortisol, or the high stress hormones, I should say. And if I can do all of that stuff while I felt the way that I did, there's literally no reason why you can't, you know, lose 10 kilos because you have a busy job and you feel a bit tired, or no reason why you can't build muscle, no reason why you can't go and get yourself a new job, no reason why you can't go and, you know, find a partner or find a new group of friends or improve your life or whatever. Like it doesn't matter how you feel. Like the biggest thing that I learned throughout all of that, because I'm not exaggerating here, the it took me about a year to fully recover. Even still now, I still feel some of the repercussions from that. You may have noticed that video was skipped. Yeah, again, SSRI withdrawal is not the best, and I completely forgot what the fuck I was saying mid-sentence. So we are back. So the biggest thing that I've learned throughout all of this, obviously after going on the medication, and you know, kind of doing the inner work as well, still I did therapy for a little bit in between that, particularly in like the kind of rougher times throughout the last year and a half. But the thing that I've learned the most was that me and my coach have a saying that might upset a couple of people, but this is just what helps me get through. Like, feelings aren't real, right? And what we mean by that is, like, yes, you feel your feelings and they feel horrible, right? Because they are that. They are feelings. Like, they can debilitate a lot of people. They can, they can obviously severely affect a lot of people's lives. But when we say feelings aren't real, what we mean by that is, for an example, right? I went and did a public speaking thing for my coach in January. The feelings that I had were, when I got up there, I'm not exaggerating, I literally felt like I was going to fucking cry, right? That was the way that I felt, right? I thought, watching the video back from me talking, you'd be able to really clearly tell that I looked like I was going to cry or something like that. And I'm not joking, like, I literally felt like I was going to cry. And I thought, watching it back, it'll be so obvious. And I watched the video back, and you literally couldn't tell. Like, I'm not saying I was fucking Tony Robbins or anything, but like, you couldn't tell at all. And the point being is that, like, I felt a certain way, but the actual physical real life situation was not that at all. Like, it was nothing like the way that I was thinking. Like, for an example, if you think, oh, I can't lose body fat because of X, Y, and Z, like, because I'm stressed and I'm busy and blah blah, like, you might feel that way, but that doesn't mean that it's fucking true. That doesn't mean that it's real. So the biggest thing that I learned from being on the medication is, like, oh yeah, I feel like really anxious when I'm going to, like, do a sales call with somebody, or I feel like I can't grow the business to somewhere where I want to be, or I can't improve my physique to blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, cool, I might feel that way, but it doesn't mean I can't fucking do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be letting feelings dictate your life for your entire life, because so many people's lives are ruined, and I'm not going to exaggerate when I say that. So many people's lives are ruined by the fact that they completely let feelings fucking dictate what they do on a day-to-day, right? Feelings are not your actions, or feelings aren't directions for what your actions should be. Feelings are just data, right? If you feel anxious, maybe it's just because you're getting out your fucking comfort zone. Like, that's totally normal. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. Your brain is designed to make you feel safe. That's why change often feels extremely difficult, right? Because of the fact that your brain wants to stay the same. It likes homeostasis. It doesn't want you to go to the unknown. It doesn't want you to push the boundaries, because, again, your brain just wants you to be safe. So even when it's positive change, like with diet and training and sleep and stress reduction and all the rest of it, it feels super fucking uncomfortable because your brain wants to stay the same, right? You have to understand, if you actually want to get anywhere, that your feelings do not dictate your actions. So that is the biggest takeaway that I've had from this whole experience over the last year and a half. And if somebody are upset by that, I do apologise. But again, that's just completely my experience. And yeah, I didn't really think there was a better time to talk about that. Like, a perfect example right now is, again, I am coming off the medication. I haven't felt anxiety or depression or anything really badly I haven't really felt them much at all for around a year and a half now since I've been on the medication. I'm getting all those feelings back this week, and it doesn't feel good, but guess what? I'm still doing the shit that I need to do. Like, I'm still doing my content that you can see behind me here. I'm still helping my clients. I'm still, bringing new people into the business, like, as in bringing new clients in. I'm still working on myself. I'm still going to the gym. I'm still eating good foods, which, again, is even more important right now than it ever will be. But yeah, your feelings don't dictate your actions, okay? And that is the final take. So, thank you very much for taking the time to watch the video, guys, and I will see yous in the next one.